Hey everyone, Stacey Murphy here. And the other day I saw an article that stopped me dead in my tracks. It made me wonder about the future of growing food. And the article I saw was, this is not something that people are doing all around the world. This is just in a local laboratory somewhere. They're growing strawberry cells from other strawberry cells. So they're not growing strawberries, they're growing kind of a gooey paste that looks like strawberry jam. But the irony is that, well, it's grown from strawberry cells and it's supposed to reproduce more strawberry cells. When they tasted it, they said it didn't taste like strawberries. It tasted like a different kind of berry. So what's going on there, right? So, you know, biology is, plants and biology, they're complex and they have a really cool relationship to the soil they're grown in. And so reproducing plant cells is kind of interesting that you don't necessarily get the same thing, right? So this article, I'm by no means saying we should all go out and start growing those strawberry cells. What I'm wondering about is if we're moving in that direction. I'm curious about the direction of growing food in the future. And you know, right now I feel so connected to my community and I feel connected to the earth, the plants that are grown right in the earth. And I feel connected to these plants that are surrounding me and producing fruit. And I'm wondering in the future, will other generations feel the wisdom that is in this system? Or will we go so far down this technology run that at some point we're not going to remember how to do any of this? So I don't know what the answer is to that question. I believe there is a way to grow food for the world's population with organic methods. I really, truly do. It produces a whole lot of food in a very small space when it's done well. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think there's a solution, and it builds soil, which is great for trapping carbon, so that, you know, we're not altering the atmosphere. There's so many benefits. We're recycling so many organic products when we're growing food. So there's so many benefits, right? So my question for you is, what do you see the future of food being? And what can you do to connect future generations to their food, regardless of how it's grown? So let me just tell you a really brief story. So I always talk about how I got disconnected from my food and I felt kind of like, you know, a tourist in my own life, that I was totally disconnected from where the food came from. I've talked about that story in other parts of my videos, but the piece of the puzzle that's really interesting is the moment I got disconnected from my food was really when I was young. And so for those of you with kids, with grandkids, with nieces, with nephews, with young mentors in your life, with people that you mentor, how will you connect them to food so that they understand the joy that is all of gardening and the magic of growing their own food? And just really briefly, what happened for me and is happening potentially to the youth that you know. So they're at home one year. Let's say they're 18 and they're inside of your house, and maybe you have a garden and you're putting food on the table, and they might not even know how wonderful that is. And then the next year they might go off to college, or they might go out, they might leave and travel the world, or they might get a job somewhere, or whatever their path is, and instantly they don't have that support structure. And for me, when I went off to college, well, I had gardened with my mom and I had cooked with my mom. When I showed up at college, there was no fresh food in the cafeterias. Even the salad bars were pretty weak. And this was years ago, and I know that things have changed a bit in the institutions, but the reality is that people go off into the world, and if they don't have a support structure for getting fresh food in their lives, all of a sudden the disconnections start piling up. So what happened for me is I thought that once I went off to college, I was like, wow, this food is awful. And I just thought that my mom's food was good. I didn't realize that it was because it was homegrown. And then it took me years of I was, you know, cooking from grocery stores and doing all these things, and I was never that excited about food. I was like, why did the food from my childhood taste so good? And then what reconnected me to my food was ironically going to New York City and all the amazing farmers markets. And I would show up at the farmers market early in the morning, and there were all the chefs who were buying produce for their restaurants. And I went to those restaurants and I was like blown away by the deliciousness of that food. And I remembered, oh, it's because all of that food was homegrown. That's what made all the difference in the world, that I know where that food comes from. These farmers, they are growing amazing food, right? So the disconnection, when it happens, is usually at the age when young people become adults and they have to fend for themselves. So please, if you have teens in your life, if you have people who are going on and they're going to start to fend for themselves, please think about what tools they might need in order to ensure that they stay connected to their food, they stay connected to their health and their well-being. And here's what I would love to get the message out for, for any of you who have people in your life that are that age, or if better yet, if you're watching this and you are, a teenager, please share this with your friends. Here's what I want to tell you. It doesn't take that much space or that much time to grow just a handful of things that can be delicious. If I had known that in my dorm room I could have grown 2 little trays of greens and herbs that I could have taken down to the not so great salad bar in the cafeteria, man, it would have rocked my world. Or better yet, do you know how much ramen I ate in college? I ate a lot of ramen noodles because in your dorm room you have a microwave and that's about it. And so ramen noodles is what you do. Well, what if you had those ramen noodles, but next to it you have homegrown greens? Just put them in the soup and there you go. You just like doubled the nutrient value, maybe tripled, I don't know how much, the nutrient value of that soup and the deliciousness of that soup. So it doesn't take that much time and effort to grow your own greens in a small space in a dormitory, and just keep that going, keep that excitement about what it means to grow food, and know that you're producing long-term health benefits for yourself and good habits, and that your food can taste delicious no matter where you are. So without going any farther, I know I'm just going to keep rambling on this subject if I keep going. And so here's what I want you to think about. Number 1, what do you think the future of food is? And number 2, if you enjoy homegrown food and the deliciousness and the magic of this process, it doesn't take much time, doesn't take much effort. So what could you do to support your the people in your life that are young, so that they get dialed in, so that they don't feel that disconnect? Maybe you felt that disconnect at some point in your life. Maybe they don't have to. That could be your gift to the future generation. So whatever it is, think about what's the gift that you want to leave behind for the future generation. And it is, I don't know when you're watching this video, but right now it is holiday season. And if you're looking for a gift for somebody who is young, I have the perfect idea. Right now I have a holiday special. You can give the gift of greens. There's a link in the YouTube video below, or in the comments below. That'll take you directly to a page that'll share more information on that. Essentially, it's an online class. It's super easy. It just teaches people how to grow greens in really small spaces and fast. It's all about fast food, which is super easy. All right, so that's it for this video. Take care. I love you guys. Happy holidays.